back at the 406th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 11th, 2021. Mr. Kesh, are you there? And would you like to progress with questions in this?
Yes, I think you want to change your screen. We see part of the chat. On the live stream, we see it. Yeah, we're back on. We are good now. So, how would you like to progress? I'm sure there's a number of questions, and I'm sure there's a lot of questions to be numbered. But how would you like to go?
Well, we've got I can remind the attendees they can put their virtual hands up here in the Zoom chat, and we can allow you to speak. And in the Q&A, Salamia has a question about the comparison between the standard model of particle and the standard model in plasma science, 3 types of quark and 3 types of matter.
We don't believe in quarks, so we have nothing to discuss. The quarks do not exist. That was an imaginary knowledge which was created and in so many ways became part of elevating a lot of people's knowledge to find more, and some people who could not understand it just stuck with it. So the quarks and these things don't exist except those who read the book about the quarks. This is why, as part of the program to Keshe Foundation, we will invest heavily in new school teaching, in the newer school knowledge teaching. Now, hopefully, maximum 2 to 3 years, Keshe Foundation will teach knowledge in the true essence of, not what has been imaginary of. To understanding the totality. We don't teach them something and then like now we see a very knowledgeable person like Dr. Salamia comes up with quarks. When you don't teach them fallacy, you don't need to correct it. And if you put the people in the right way of knowledge from childhood, we don't need to go into the process of what we call a lot of rubbish and then trying to change. It's better in the schooling to teach about the nature, how things are that they can see, than teach them a lot of things that then you have to change. Because they read first. So you will see new style of teaching will come out of Keshe Foundation, especially KFSSI will be strengthened across the internet, that the teaching does not depend if you can go to school, but you can teach being at home with the parents, where the knowledge will be shared equal between the parents and the children. It's not a homeschooling. If I put you on a trip to Mars, how can you go to school on Earth? The knowledge should be reachable to everyone across the planet according to their understanding and across the universe. You will see new style of teaching. The head of the Keshe Foundation is working on that way of teaching and education side. And Iranian team is working in structuring the other side. Gradually, we will get there. It's not battling against what it is. It's introducing a new and let people be educated in that direction. What's next?
Okay, thank you. Ruthie has a hand up here, unless it was an error. Ruthie, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kesh, for the wonderful teaching today. I think you are the teaching, let me think about the multi-dimensional beings. So if you are aware of all this internet, connect from the physical level, from the soul level, from the soul of the creator level, then it's like you are multidimensional being. You are aware that in this physical level, okay, I'm Lin, but maybe in another dimension, and I have another name, and I have another job, but even more higher, have some other things. So recently I had a lot of people talking about this kind of experience. So it's very interesting. So would you like to explain more about this multi-dimensional living, the future of this enlightened people should have?
You do not live a multi-dimension. This is why now maybe with what you put forward, understand part of the teaching where we put and we said very clearly that when I teach, my teaching is for the whole universe and the universe. Because when we teach in the dimension of the motion of the thoughts in the inner being, we are already teaching right across all dimensions. For you who have an ear, you hear it as a voice. For those who have a different level, they hear it in their dimension. For those who have a different understanding, hear it in their dimension. But the teaching comes from the mouth of one at the same time. And each one takes from it according to their intelligence and understanding of the totality, even in the dimension of the community. You hear the voice, but how would the man in this dimension hear it in his dimension of ear and comprehension? And how does this one? Because the message is the same. If you know it, you say, I already know. But there is another hidden part, which is the same as book 1, 2, and 3. You read it first, and then you get some more knowledge, and you come back and read it. Oh, this is what they meant. And that. So it's very much which book, how many times you read, and how much you've been progressed and enlightened in that passage. And this is why we don't live in all dimensions. We are the true all dimensions. We are the creator of what you see, reduction of the field forces of the creator in different levels to become to the point. And then man is in so many ways sets in to receive from all at all levels. And then in each interaction, you have different emotion, or what we call interaction of the thoughts in that strength. And thus you call it a dream. So you have an emotion already in all dimensions, but which part you're aware of, that's what it counts. In the dimension of physicality, you will see here the dreams of the cat and dog. What is the dream and what is the emotion in this? Now you understand, in the past few months, I spoke about new emotions which will explain that you never knew. Because each one of these levels has its own emotion according to his strength that is not open to the one which are inside in a lower level of strength. Now you understand how the teaching comes together. There is so many emotions in the interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of the dimension of the strength in the unicast, that it creates its own emotion. And you have no meaning for it because it's not there, you don't see it, you have never felt it in the dimension of physicality. And now, as I just said, there will be so many new explanation of the emotions now that you understand this picture. Still to come. We don't live in different levels. We are creator of the levels, and we are all part of the same. The man or the creature which lives in this dimension is aware of and is looking for to elevate to this dimension, to become, to reach what we call the knowledge of the creator. The man or the creation which lives in this level, he strives to reach that much to the level of the creation. That when he reached, it shines back down on him. So when I teach, you will hear the voice of the man. But those others will hear in their dimension and strength the same message. But they interpret it to what it fits in their strength and dimension. As life, what we call the interaction of the fields of creation, is all the same across the universe. This is why I just said we are called the messengers, universal messengers. We are the messengers of the Creator, as we come from the essence of totality. Prophets are for the man who make a profit for themselves.
But Mr.
In your brain, not in the hard work. Yes.
So how many universe messengers are here on Earth right now?
The whole universe carries one and only. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh. There's a question in the live stream from Freed who asks,
I extend this
okay,
to what you said, is that we look at the one and only as the soul of the Creator, not the physicality of the man. You have to understand that point. Carry on, please. What does Farid says?
he says, Dear Mr. Kesh, I remember an earlier quote by you. If we are not hungry, we can be in love with the whole of creation. So why do I still have an urge to munch? Does this contribute to the 20% left?
Sorry about that, I couldn't unmute. Yes, and that is what we are trying to bring about, that you still need energy to survive. But the only thing is we change the menu, change the ingredient, nothing else. Learn to tap in what is freely made available in the universe for you by not taking from one which is already worked to put it together. That's all. You have meat eaters, you have the vegetarians, you have vegans, and now there is a new menu. Fields of the universe. Learn to tap into it. That's all. Then you can tap very straight away to whichever level you want.
Okay, we have Ed with a hand up here.
Good morning, Mr. Cash. This is Ed from Indiana. I would like to understand how we get past the level of emotional awareness that we're at right now to, let's say, the next level. Your drawings showed us that when we interact at the next level, we create a different emotional awareness. But right now, the palette of our emotions that we experience is at the physical level. How do we get to interact at the next level and create a different emotional awareness?
The new systems. Somebody's phone is open. The new system, especially the vision and brain enhancement unit, will bring this fact to many of you who went through it very rapidly, within seconds, and it stays with you. And the more you go into it, the more you understand what it needs to be done, what it needs to be to handle the two emotions. People who've been through the process of the new enhancement unit talk about new experiences of emotion, talk about new experience of physical emotion in all dimensions. I've been witness to them in the recent past. I've seen how the souls have been elevated. I've seen how emotion within seconds have manifest themselves entering these systems. What we see in our trials, what we see in our testing will shock many of you when you see it, when you enter it, when you feel it, when you come to understand it, that how beautiful life is if you understand the totality. If you understand the condition that the whole caboodle is perfect for you according to your understanding. And you'll come to be very much in tune with yourself, in tune with your creator, as now you understand you have access to it. You call it enlightenment. When you enter these systems, when you get fed through your soul, would you think you can feed the physicality, that you'll not kill anymore, you will not destroy anymore? But once you get to that point, just because now you have access to the fields of the universe, would you be able to jump straight away to the higher levels? Or do you need to spend time to gather more? This is especially why in the past weeks, I cleared something very, very, some of you might not have understood about the creation of Mitra. In so many ways, when you call it Eve, set out to create for a creation of Mitra, which is the completion of totality, she took the best from every dimension to make sure that every creature, the strength, the best of beauties of all races in every dimension, whatever the creator could create to be the best, which in essence comes from the soul of the Creator himself, are in all dimensions and strength within the time and the frame of the manifestation of Mitra. So when what you call Eve went to create Mitra, she took and spent time across the universe to make sure there is no strength that can lead to something else. That when Mitra manifests amongst the man, she is the sign of the Creator. In essence, all the fields of the Creator in all dimensions became what you see. And this is the point of change. The true enlightened understanding of the totality, the manifestation of Mitra, where the man and all creatures of the universe will have access to the Creator through the knowledge. She shall be soon amongst us in both dimensions and enlightens the universe and the universe. The best has been collected to create the soul. And that's what I said, the Mitra is created out of the soul, not the dimension of physicality. Where now we create the physicality of egg and the sperm to create the soul. This time the soul has been created that it fits and befits in every dimension. And as I said, I'm servant to serve. Any other question?
Ed, did you have a second question? Sometimes Mr. Keshe allows it.
We don't have a choice. We had Jalal. He made it fashionable.
Well, I don't know what to ask after that really, but the creation of Mitra in our dimension, will it be our choice to be aware of it or not?
Being made aware of it is your problem to understand and recognize.
Thank you.
Okay, Cristiano had a question in the chat here earlier. Can we say that the flight enhancement unit is a cocktail of fields where we can connect with any force field in the universe? Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. Beautiful teaching.
It's not a shortcut. As I said many times, you cannot load a donkey when the donkey has not got the strength to carry the load. You have to understand the totality to become detached and at the same time to become part of attachment that becomes a stepping stone for another person, another soul, another being to step up. When you become the soul of detachment, you'll find the path. Somebody asked me very recently, you speak about detachment, but you've been here for thousands of years attached to this planet. And I said, yes, to see the birth of Mitra. Then I'm detached. When the cycle of what you call world peace, the cycle of no hunger, the cycle of no pain as a dimension of physicality rejoices life in every dimension. We're not attached to physicality. We are guardians to make sure that point for the whole of the universe is reached. Then we have finished our service. And that time is very soon. My mission is complete.
I hope they give you a good vacation, Mr. Kesh, because you've certainly been working hard on this planet.
Oh, it's enough time. Over thousands of years come across to me. Any other question?
We're so fortunate to be witnessing it now. We have a hand up here in the attendees, Giovanni. Would you like to go ahead? And do you need a translator or? You had a question in the chat here. I will have to use my Google Translate to see what that was. The translation is not very clear. It says physical and the soul. Are we then dictional? I don't know what he means by the dictional. Demisicones.
Do we have any Italians who can translate?
I think it is Italian, yes. If you have anybody here that can translate Italian, you can put your virtual hands up and maybe help us with that, or help Giovanni. Dan is here, and Raphael. Okay, let's
So it's not what you thought. It's
Hello,
maybe Portuguese. Hi, Raphael. Good day.
Hello, Mr. Kesh.
How are you?
Doing good.
Thank you very much for beautiful work in Brazil. It's amazing what you're achieving.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh. Yeah. You want me to translate the question, right, Rick?
Is it in Portuguese?
Yes, in Portuguese.
Okay.
The question is it was not clear in Portuguese also for me, but he's asking about the soul and the physicality are dimensional. That's the question.
Pardon?
Let me try to read again. The soul and the physicality are dimensional. That's his question.
Yes. If you go back to the teaching from the beginning, if you understood, we put the soul in this dimension. Now you understand. Through the soul of Mitra, understanding of it, you become the soul of the creator and vice versa. But it's not physical elevation. is the elevation of the understanding. The process of the creation at every level.
Hi, Mr. Kash. May I know, is Mitra the soul of the light?
Mitra is the light. That's the light of the knowledge, not the light of physicality. I was explaining to part of our knowledge seekers in past few days, as we progress in developing the what we call wellness centers around the world, in places like Arizona in the coming months, you will see the building of Arizona. But you will feel the light and the fields of Arizona. The way we have structured the systems in Arizona is unique. Arizona is structured, many of you will go to it and you will see it, in a very specific way, where we have the body enhancement unit for field transfer. Then we have the vertical enhancement unit. And then we have the called vision. And in this process, you will understand the transformation of the fields, where the vision enhancement unit behave like electrons. The body enhancement unit become the transition line. And the vertical unit become the feedbacker of the system. And this will create a dynamic fields around the whole structure. Where, with this process, we create a new dimension of the fields and landing. Not with the field strength of the earth, but the field strength of the understanding of the emotion. Now, even you might understand why the space flight system have a bottom flat, but they have a creation of this shape, where the interaction of the two fields will convey the pressures. As I said to the knowledge seekers and the people we are working for the development of the new space centers, the way you see the what we call the flight system with a door on the side, this is for what you call human transportation. When we go to the bigger dimensions, the loading will be done from the center and from underneath. That's why we are setting up to build new, what you call, landing spaces to make it easier. This is part of the understanding how we will do. The new enhancement centers, which are about to come into build and operation, will go on the basis of very much with all the facilities on the site. We try to create this in the dimension. I have to position this right that you understand it. Don't get the wrong image. Where all the people within a building and outside benefit from the operation of the system. We hope in the coming time, not many people will need to run these systems, but the fields created will create the dome of everything. Refuge, sanctuary, even in time of disaster. Once you enter this dome, you can extend it according to the process of the enhancement unit. You can accommodate thousands of people who get involved or are in the process of moving from disaster. You come in, you receive what you need, and you go back out. We saw the creation of this dome in a very soft way at the beginning when we started working with Ali in Canada. But knowledge seekers were not ready at that time. We abandoned the project because it's no use going ahead with something when people cannot see. If you remember, Ali made the pyramid. In private teachings with Ali, I realized he understood more, but he cannot put it because he could not translate the knowledge of the soul to the knowledge of physicality. But if he ever comes, because he was around a couple of years ago back in teaching, he still listens, comes back and explains, people could see the enlightenment. It depends on this enlightenment of the soul, not the enlightenment of the physicality. Any other question? We will deliver very soon upon agreement with the 5+1. The first unit should be in Arizona by mid-December. And on delivering of the first 48 units into Arizona, many of you will feel the dimension of the solar physicality. And then we will see how the position and time will change. And many of you will be enlightened by just entering the new
dimension. Giovanni has a further question and a hand up here. Maybe he'd like to talk and Raphael could translate. Or Raphael, could you help him with that? And he has a question in the chat there. If you could translate that or get him to talk, that would be good.
Yeah, let me try to read here the question. So he said, in my understanding, the soul and the physicality always walk together, or they are separate, one in each space and time.
How can they be separate? How can you separate the soul of your creator from yourself? You don't exist. Any other question?
We have a question in YouTube from Lil Plasma 2. Hello, good day. Question from Jose Morgaz of the Hispanic group. Adam and Eve had a navel. Did you understand the question, Mr. Kish?
No.
Did Adam and Eve have a belly button or navel?
Do not attribute physicality of the man to the creator. essence of connection and interaction between the souls exists. What name do you want to call it? Why do we have the belly button nail? Because that was a line of the connection between the child and the mother. That's in the dimension of physicality. The Creator never cuts the line of connection. Man is never alone. But in the life of the man, we give birth to the child and we leave it for him to grow. That's the dimension of physicality and the attributes of the Creator.
So I guess it would be true that if we proceed as humans to go through with birth without going through the birth canal and all of that, then people will be born without belly buttons.
In a way, we are both dimension because we have to confirm the existence in the dimension we exist and follow the pattern. But in a way, the essence of confirmation of existence in the dimension of fields of the creation, which is the soul of the man, will co-live and co-birth. Not as a prisoner, but as equal and above, to give. You know, Liverpool Football Club has a beautiful song which they become their motto. You never walk alone. As the soul of the man, you never walk around without the presence of the soul of the Creator. Any other?
I have no questions in the live stream, YouTube, chat, Q&A. Oh, we have a hand up from Kay here. Go ahead, Kay.
Thank you, Rick. Can you hear me?
Yes, very good.
Good morning to everyone. Good morning, Mr. Cash. Thank you ever so much. As always, you deliver the best of the best, which is very difficult to catch up. It may sound odd, the question I'm trying to ask, but it's been baffling me for a long time. Even though I asked a couple of questions in that line, I still didn't get the satisfaction of my the ambiguity and my quest.
You demand satisfaction.
No, not really. In terms of coming to terms with understanding, this is a bit of a soul question. You have stated that our soul puts us in a position to carry out certain action. And at the same time, we know our soul is from the Creator, and they carry the knowledge of the universe equally, at least those which are true humans, and the knowledge comes from the solar system, our planet, or our sun, who gives us this knowledge. Now, my question is, if the ethos of the universe is as such that all the souls carry the same good deed, and they do nothing wrong, as the three kings that you always mention, which is quite right as well, do good, talk good, and think good. I want to know, why does people go and kill or steal or do all of the horrible thing in the universe if the soul is the one who puts them in that position? So why would the soul position its own creation to a position where it is horrible, and while it reduces his own strengths with the action of his physicality that he has created?
You see, at the point of the creation of life on this planet, due to literally physical condition of the composition of the elements of this planet and position of it when life was created, it wasn't done in totality. It was like a wheel missing. And that wheel out of the four wheel of the car is the absorption of energy, which ended up with killing to receive. And possession became part of the structure of the emotion of the man. We like to possess, we like to hold, we like to have. And for it, we do a lot of other things. Those who are around me, I always explain to them, they say, why do you live this life or whatever in these conditions? Because unfortunately, if you turn up with a rag and if you turn up with a car from 1940s, nobody listens to it because the man's brain has become man of possession. What you possess, they assess what to listen to. And in that position and dimension, you learn very fast that we would like to possess, and with it, we create dimensions. When I used to be in the world of business, I used to have 2 cars. One car, a normal car, very humble. And that was when I used to go and do as part of my work to buy products or buy do deals, which was in a way, people don't see you coming with a top car. So they say, oh, the guy is, you can do a deal with him at the lowest prices. When I used to sell goods, I used to go with the best car because it was a position of, I don't need, you want what I have, is my way, my condition. And it always worked, 99% of the time worked. Because man looks at the possession and the position. If I stood with a ragged trousers in the corner and I spoke about this knowledge, nobody listened. Dress well, bring the right environment. We have 300, 400 million followers and increasing rapidly. Because some of those who saw us as a danger, they created the problem. Those of you who were interested in the knowledge, you took the knowledge side. But we play both games. We play in the game of the knowledge, and we play in the game to force those people who are materialistic to go our way. I was online maybe a couple of weeks ago, and Wang Lin has been present in some of the world leaderships. We sit and talk. And we sit and decide and support who and how certain people become world leaders. And the condition of our support is implication application of peace in exchange for support of the Keshe Foundation in knowledge and technology. And when we deal with these people who expect to be in a position of the leading a nation, we treat them that way. We set the table fit for the king. Wang Lin has been in a couple of these situations with the people who we point to become the next world leaders. Because we do knowledge in exchange for peace. And you have to treat these people at that level. That you create that condition and you have the means and you give the persona that they trust you can do that. But when they get to position of power, they usually change. But now we learn, we tie their hands right behind their back to the leg that we get our way. And it's very You cannot imagine, or maybe you can imagine, how we deal with these ambassadors and world leaders to be other world leaders. I think the first time I sat on the table with them was shocked how we treat them exactly how this is the life is and how their life as in will be. But at the same time, I walk into most probably the cheapest cafes and I sit and eat at the same time. Because it's not a position, it's understanding the joy of you can bring that change. I live amongst the man, so we have to understand the totality of the man. And it's a very strange situation, and you have to be fit and be ready for all of it at all time. And some of the knowledge seekers, when they see us in these positions, they cannot comprehend how you can be in that position and the next day or the next hours, you become a common man on the street, because that's how life should be. We should be humble that much. Many of the knowledge seekers in the countries we live have been there. We have become in touch with them because they don't expect you. They expect you to be always everything that they can imagine, but we are the same as you. And this is what man has to be. Understand the position and bring the position to befit the time and the place. We had experience a few years ago. We were sitting in literally a bakery, two rows of chairs against the wall, and there was a gap in between. I've said that before. A guy managed to get himself in the gap, and he doesn't ask me, is he Mr. Keshe? He asked the person with me, is he Mr. Keshe? Because he's not expected to sit in the bakery and eat like everybody else. When you learn to be humble, when you learn to be part of, then you can progress in soul, because you see both dimensions. You see how you can elevate some souls and how even you can elevate your own field of physicality to understand more. And when you become that humble, when you get that reach to be a father, to be a friend, to be leading an organization like Keshe Foundation, and at the same time deliver the message of the Creator, is not easy. But to be humble enough to do it is an art. And over thousands of years on this planet, we have mastered it. گر خواهی نشوی رسوا همرنگ جماعت means if you don't want to stand out, become part of the society. Then it's easy to do. And yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Yes, we have another question from Giovanni. If Raphael could be so kind as to translate. I have a rough translation from
Yes.
YouTube,
Translate here, just one sec. He asked, is there a pure soul and an impure soul, or this is just fantasy created by the Bible?
There is a pure soul. It's not a fantasy, it's the soul of the Creator. And shall be as part of it, the soul of Mitra, has been and shall be. Mankind does not understand in what conjuncture of changes Any other questions? Shall we call it a day?
Perhaps we can deal with one of the questions, one or two questions from the Q&A here that were here for a bit, Mr. Kesh. We have a question from Paulo, who says, we were taught by Alex that the speed of light squared in Einstein's formula must now be changed to harmonize with the ethos of the universe, and replacing the C for compassion and the C for courage. So he says it reminds me of Bushido, touted in the movie The Last Samurai. This warrior path, cultural heritage of samurai warriors, encompasses loyalty, honor, courage, and benevolent respect. In one of the workshops on Thursday, it was said that in the future, we will have BCs with some uniform protecting these ethos from the universe as plasma soldiers in events around the world. I ask, is this really necessary, or will technology by itself take care of transforming humanity's mindset in our world, so far from concepts, beliefs, ideas, and still very latent in confrontations, as we saw in the American Congress? It's a bit of a long question, but basically...
Hey, do you know, for the first time, I've been waiting for 8 years to tell you this, Rick. Can you move your microphone a little bit further? Do you remember you used to tell me?
Was it too loud?
No, we hear the breathing. I got that from years from you. Now I can tell you for the first time I know what you mean, because I can hear it from yours. Well, you change your microphone.
Yeah, I finally have a microphone that you can hear, and I really do breathe.
It's nice. Now, how can you answer this long question?
Well, he's saying, will it
cut it into bits?
He's talking about these plasma soldiers that'll be dispersed to events around the world.
We are the soldiers.
Necessary?
We are the soldiers. Mm-hmm. Not in a physical dimension, in the dimension of the soul. I received a message from one of the knowledge seekers this morning, which I thought it was fantastic, but in a way, he's changed the knowledge into application, and he makes a living out of it. And he said, I placed Magrav system in the prison. It's 700 meters long or whatever. And he says, I received a call from the director of the prison, if I translate it correctly, that since we put these Magrav systems in prison, the behavior of the prisoners have changed. And he said, I'm so proud. I called to tell you this is the message I received from the head of the prison. And I thought, maybe for the first time, the knowledge seekers who were waiting for power reduction have come to understand the power of the Magravs. That a man sees change in the behavior of his prison and the prisoners, while the Magrav systems are there to benefit them physically. And I thought, this is what now the new enhancement units are supposed to do, but in a more rapid way. And we're seeing the same with the orphanage in Tehran. And strange enough, this information comes from the knowledge seekers of Iran. And we see gradually how we are bringing the change. A few Magrav system in the prison, many of you watering the what we call every Sunday is those little Magrav seeds we are planting. hopefully in the next few months, when we start building strategically the wellness centers, we will connect the planet together to bring that down. And you will understand very soon that center points of connections become the what we call the wellness centers. And when we build 1,000 of them around the planet, being from the islands to richest nations, our purpose in so many ways, okay, you go into the enhancement center to serve, to help with your whatever. But our bigger plan is to connect, to create a layer which the physicality of this planet has been lacking and has led man to kill. If you understand the game which we have set out now to do, is very simple. This planet is for shortfalling to deliver to all its creatures that they need to kill, from the lion to the man to the plants in different shape or form. Now, with establishing the enhancement centers around the world, strategically we'll choose, we give that dome the light of the Creator to change the man that does not need to kill. Every enhancement, if you just noticed a few minutes ago when I spoke with Arizona. But the ultimate goal is creating that dome, that in conjunction, it becomes more or less one. What this planet could not do from the outset, we support it. And when you are dropping the ganses every Sunday, everywhere, you're helping us that will be ready for the time when we create the dome. You cannot do it by satellites due to the motion and everything else. We physically fix the satellites, but we know the power of our system. I was explaining to John how important it is to finish the facility in Arizona and extend our work across the planet. Now you understand where the change is coming, how we're changing the condition by all of you, in a way, by as more and more, or a few of you are putting these gas waters, you're creating the connection we need. It's understanding the process of the work. It's the same thing when we build the first CO2 centers. Is very simple. And that is, we take, for example, the city of Tehran. We don't make it so squarish. We strategically will plan the system the way we want. And then strategically we choose amongst the process how we scatter, that we support the waves into the center, that collectively we change the atmosphere of there. It'll be done the same with New York and the rest. But this is part of what we call the process. Just 1 second. And this is the plan of our work. And we have to see and wait to understand. Then you see everything we do has a reason, but we start along before we get to the completion. We just put the foundation that is ready by the time to build, to achieve what you want. Yeah, to what is for the betterment of the, not just the human race, but the whole of the creation. We sit within the soul of where we want to be, but we are still allowing them to do their way. Any other question? Or shall we call it a day?
Well, there's always more questions. Perhaps we can just deal with 1 or 2 more here, if you don't mind.
Yep.
From Antonio in the Q&A.
And I book in for the overtime.
Okay. Twice as much as you usually get. Okay.
Which is nothing good.
Yes. Antonio is asking, says, thank you, Mr. Keshe, for this amazing teaching. My question is, have we now come full circle and are now on our return to our source, the creator, which we are part of and where we come from? And when you say the earth is slowly moving back towards the sun, is this our connection to the creator, our sun, the return to where we come from?
That is a physical condition of the earth. We live the physicality on the earth, but the soul of the man at the point of departure takes its position in different dimension in the universe. And we are always depending, as we said, on what we've done on the way forward towards or on the way away from the source. And you follow the golden rules of Zoroaster, you get there in a smoother way by enlightenment, not by the dimension of physicality. You see, the man is like a child who sits on the lap of the father and gets all the love, and he always thinks, I have not received enough. And he always blames the father for his own greed. And man is that way. When our religious leaders explain to the man that the heaven and hell is a position in respect to the creator, we will not wait to burn in one and to have honey and whatever in the other. It's very interesting how man has conditioned himself. You always want to be closer, but you don't realize you are part of the closeness. In many teachings, in a very simple way, I refer to especially early teachings. Maybe now it comes to sense. And we come to understand that we are positioned. We position ourselves. We come to be part of according to our own decision, according to what we do. And we are in that position of the mind frame of understanding the totality. We create conditions. When we create conditions without expectation, then we see different than when we create conditions with expectation. And as a man, to elevate, we should never expect. There to create a condition for others to elevate is your job. Any other question?
Yes, if we could get Jalal in here, that would be good.
My God, we'll be here till tonight.
I will make it short, Mr. Cash. Good day.
Hi, Jalal. How are you?
I'm
Thank you very much for your work.
Thank you,
You're
Mr.
doing
Cash,
a
for your
beautiful
teaching.
job.
Thank you. That's all from your knowledge, Mr. Cash.
Let me, before you start, Jalal, because
Yes, please.
it'll be in public, we will call upon a number of knowledge seekers like you to become the teachers in the new institute in Austria. And we hope those we call upon will respond positive. And we hope we'll see you as part of the structure of the new science and technology and sharing knowledge the way you do. And I thank you for it. Your teaching is amazing, and in so many ways. Knowledge seekers find out what they really never understood and what they need to understand, but in a very, what do you call it, a strange way. Thank you very much for your work.
Why, Mr. Cash, always you bring the tears to my eyes? Thank you very much.
I don't
Mr.
know,
Cash.
because we maybe come from the same part of the world. We are too sentimental.
As always, Mr. Cash, we are here to serve, and in the way which is possible to serve. Now I forget my question. My God.
You see, that was a good way. Thank you very much for coming on, Jalal. Rick, we can say goodbye.
Okay. Okay, I remember. About the orphanage, Mr. Cash, you said you will release a video about it. Is it the time for it to be released? Because really we needed that video.
We have the video. We have I have to ask what do you call it? The situation from the people in Tehran. And we have to get their authorization to be able to do this. And maybe we show this as part of the work with what is to come in the next couple of weeks. Let me ask. I cannot tell you yes, because we have the videos, but what do you call it? The people in charge have to tell us in Tehran.
Okay. An auxiliary question. Do I need a suitcase
For where?
to be part?
I don't know. Depends if your wife gives you a suitcase, so she puts you at the door. Go. I had enough of you.
I am already near the door.
You already live just at the edge. No, it's we are going through the process, as I said, and we are in that direction and in that situation, and we don't lose sight of what is going on, but we need to teach masses in a new way. And one of my thoughts with the new university is not to be so much classroom. It's so much the classrooms to be live, that anybody can go into any classroom. That the knowledge is not kept by 1 or 2 or 3 people in that research or in that group. As we do not carry patterns anymore, as is the openness of the time, we have to move into the next step of the science and technological advantages we have now to share knowledge like this. My view is, with the new university structure which is coming up, we will spend a lot of money to do it. is that the classrooms has to be open to everyone who wants to come into it and learn whatever it is from it. Maybe you go to 10 classes in one day and learn a bit from each and you come up with something new. When I've said this many years ago, I don't know if some of you remember it. When I was invited by the Chinese government in 2007 to China, that time president, before President Xi, he appointed his personal physician to look after us while we were in China in showing the development progress in China. And one of the strangest things he did, he was a heart surgeon. He said that we come to my hospital, to my surgery, and we went to the hospital. And when I went into his surgery operating room, it was different than any operating room I've seen. I've been born and bred in hospitals and everything else. And he had a table, operating table in the middle of the room. And like your open auditorium where other heart surgeons could sit and watch, or the one student. But there were cameras all focused on this bed that other heart surgeons or people who are doing simultaneous operations all over China could see. So the knowledge of one man was immediately spread across the nation. And this is how actually China progressed so rapidly in a very advantageous ways. And that taught me a lot. I remember he saw the impression of his, he said, "You're shocked how we Chinese teach millions in one go. And in the West, you still close your doors and nobody sees." And we carry with the same structure that when you teach, anybody across this planet can tune in and be part of the university. So knowledge cannot be, I don't think you will ever see classes where people sit and be taught, maybe one or two, but mainly is developing new dimension and new position. One of the main things many of knowledge seekers have to learn is the construction of the brain, construction of the cells. And I started this years ago with a knowledge seeker who I came to understand had different whatever condition. The making of the brain, the structure of the emotion, and what we call the situation and position he could never see what gift was given to him. And he claimed he's done nothing. And I would like to see in the university, not only building the brain of the man in the laboratory, in the open space, but interaction of the emotions, how it's created with the soul which creates that system. And then we understand the interaction of the soul with the physicality dimension, doesn't matter in what dimension. If God has created, man can do same. If you understand the way. You don't need to clone it. You can build it from scratch. It's just understanding the process. This brain structure was in Keshe Foundation laboratory till I left after the death of Fabio. But the knowledge seeker came in and got stolen by all the affairs we've seen in the past year and a half around the foundation, making sure does not come the knowledge. And the ignorance of abuse brought the knowledge seeker to abuse of himself. It's not that we don't teach, we teach, but knowledge seekers have their own way of working with it. And it's very interesting how you, as new angles and teachings, understand the process and the interactions and all sides, what I call the politics of the knowledge. You have a lot to do in the new center. And it's an open teaching. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Cash.
You're welcome. I hope you're still at the door in the garage, not outside. I lived in the garage for a long time doing the work. I know how it feels falling asleep on the tables.
I am about 30 centimeter from the main door.
That's good. We try to push you outside. We give a hand to your
I think
family. Just push him outside. We'll catch you.
I think today is the kick.
No, you don't need a kick. You have a gorgeous family behind you.
Thank you, my dear.
A lot of you have to understand, as I said before, we have started taking on knowledge seekers around the world and their movement into different positions for the Keshe Foundation, what we call development, which is to come. And you got to understand, this is something which I always opposed, but now we see we are getting into what we don't want to do. Knowledge seekers moving into position for the Keshe Foundation with their families. As long as it brings unity of the family and not for one to achieve one, is the beauty of it. Now we see knowledge seekers as a family working within the foundation, and it's beautiful to see it. We don't split, but we bring more closer. And this was one of my objectives that become the cornerstone of bringing mankind together than the splitting. And it's nice to see the way, especially around Vince and other positions, we see this happening. And understanding this will change a lot of things for knowledge seekers. In the coming weeks, we announce the changes and the positions, and we'll see how we build it up. Thank you very much for today. And this week is the birth of many of the, in past 7 days, of the knowledge seekers around the world. And some are in transit, some of them are in position. We give you the best wishes for your birthdays, as you all so committed to the foundation's work and what is happening around us. And I hope we will have a very good news for many of you in the coming weeks and days as we progress. And we'll see how collectively we can do. And please do not think just because you're a knowledge seeker, Keshe Foundation has to take you up. Maybe you have the expertise, but not at this moment for us to utilize it. Maybe in the coming future, but do not give up. And we'll see what comes up. As I said to the heads of the Keshe Foundation in the past few days, we will bring in a employment vacancy list that we need to fulfill. And hopefully we can fulfill these with the expertise, not just because you're knowledge seekers. Thank you very much, Rick. Thank you very much with everyone in the background who makes these knowledge seekers teachings possible and sustainable. See you next week, and let's see what might come up next week.
Okay, very good, Mr. Keshe. Thank you so much for another Knowledge Seekers workshop here, 406 on Thursday, November 11th, 2021. Okay, we've got coming up on Tuesday of next week, I believe it's November 16th, will be the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace. And that starts at 4 p.m. Central European time. Okay, I'll play a couple of promotional videos to end the workshop with. Thank you, everybody, for attending today, and see you next time around.